So we have a vaccine for tuberculosis, but it's almost 100 years old. Next year will be the 100th anniversary. And it's been widely used, but it only protects children, and that's been known for a long time. So the reason why there's still so much tuberculosis out there is mainly because the vaccine doesn't protect adults against pulmonary tuberculosis. You know, we are very close to where tuberculosis is in our part of the world. So Papua New Guinea is very close to Australia, and we are pretty much the closest part of research near Papua New Guinea. And the other thing is obviously this project in particular is about looking into human immune responses. Most of the vaccine development over the last 10 years has really been due to animal studies, people looking at certain immune responses and trying to make a better vaccine based on these findings. But it turns out that this is not always the best way to do it. So now we have a chance to use immune readouts from humans to inform vaccine design. It's an unusual situation. Normally children get the vaccine straight after they're born, or in the early days after they're born. Because of the shortage that happened globally over the last few years, many kids have missed out, and so now we call it the catch-up vaccination. So some of those children will have to come back to get a vaccine, so that allows us to get a sample before vaccination and also to ask them to come back if they wish to do so and get a second blood sample, so we can actually understand how the immune response changes after vaccination. And in the same time, because some kids have missed out on vaccination after birth, some of them would have been exposed to tuberculosis in the meantime. Not many, hopefully very few, but some will have been, and they will not be able to get the vaccine because it's not indicated to do so. And so we can take their blood and see what the immune response looks like in these kids. We don't even know yet why BCG works. So BCG is the current tuberculosis vaccine, so it has been developed 100 years ago, as I mentioned, and it was done in times where people could do empirical studies in cattle and all sorts of models, but no one understands to date how BCG actually works from an immunological point of view. So there will be two findings. First of all, this project will also help us understand how actually BCG works and how we can improve it to make it better. So the project is designed to obviously chase up all of these kids that have potentially missed out and that get vaccinated. So we're looking at probably a 2-year period to get all of these samples in. Then we will do some high throughput immunology, how we call it. So we do a lot of readouts that look at various parameters simultaneously in all of those samples. That's probably taking another 1.5 years. So the whole project is designed as a 5-year project, and at the end of this we will hopefully get an insight in which immune responses really matter for the vaccination, and this can then be incorporated into a new vaccine. So it's all quite long-term research. Obviously the money from the Farnborough Hospital Foundation will really help us to get this off the ground, to finally get the samples that we were hoping to get a long time ago. And as you mentioned earlier in the year, we still have our what we call preclinical research happening at the same time. So we're also doing what we call rational vaccine design. So based on other models that we have, we can also modify BCG as we speak. So that all happens in parallel. So we're hoping that we have already a prototype ready and then incorporate the findings from this study to make it even better. So that's we call it in vaccinology, it's called next generation vaccines. Because even if it's the same with probably for COVID, they develop a vaccine, but it may not be the best one straight away. So by continuously working on improvements, we may be able to then have a second or third or fourth generation vaccine that finally does the job. I just want to thank the foundation for generously providing that money that will really make the difference for this research.
Look, we're really excited. We believe the research is such an enormous part going forward. We've contributed $220,000 to the overall research projects in Cairns, and to date we've contributed over $1.25 million to research just in and around the Cairns and region hospitals. We're all about local researchers doing local work to help the local community. And we're all about pushing the Cairns hospital through to tertiary status. So everything we can do to make the hospital better works well for everyone.